Hello there. Welcome to the Word Cafe podcast. This podcast has been designed with created content that centers on the power of words. Can we really do anything without speaking? Can we really do anything without the agency of words? Yes, that is what this podcast is all about. And I am your host, Amakri Isowe, your neighborhood word trader. I believe in the power of words, for it is the unit of creation. I trade in words to profit my world. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good everything. How are you all doing? Always exciting coming into this space. You understand? I describe this environment, this place, as my safe space. Each time I come in here, super excited because I know, I'm going to have fun. I'm going to be myself. Yes. How are you? How has your day been? Beautiful. It's been amazing here. Pretty hot, but amazing where I am at the moment. Amazing. You know how we say it on the show. This is a space where we come to lean on one another's experience to forge a positive path. And today I have an amazing personality. I am super excited because I've known this person for a while and somehow seen that growth, and amazing. Yes, you're seeing the topic, social medicine hero. You want to call it social medical hero, social medicine hero. I have this amazing personality and she has embraced, yes, it's a she. We're celebrating the month of women. The month of March is dedicated to women all over the world, so we're celebrating them and it's still on. I have this wonderful personality. Her name is Fejiro Nwoko, but I'm going to leave it at that. When she comes on, she will talk about herself and we will, get into the nitty-gritty of the show. All right, then. I know you want to see her like I want to do. And where is she? There she is. Hi, Fejiro.
Good evening. Hi. Amakri. Nice to be here.
Welcome to the Word Cafe live show. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm great. Fantastic. Doing well.
So, what's it like where you are, the weather? What's it like? It's raining?
I think it's just cool. It's early evening, so it's getting cooler. It's getting cooler. Yeah, it's fine.
You're in Lagos, I presume.
I'm in Lagos, yes.
So what's it like? The atmosphere, I know recently after the elections and all that, we've been having it pretty hot there. So tell us a little bit, what's happening? What is it like there? Your neighbors and everybody?
I think that we're gradually moving back to normalcy.
Okay.
I think that this week is a lot better than previous weeks, just after the elections. I think people are slowly but surely moving back to reality and their life and just moving on, from the election. So it's better emotionally, mental health wise, it's better. People are a bit less discouraged and better now.
Beautiful. All right, before we go into all of those, because you just mentioned mental health, and I know we're going to touch that, a bit, but who is Fejiro Chie Nwoko? Let's get to meet her now.
Okay, great. I am a medical doctor, public health specialist. I specialize in social medicine. I'm a wife. I'm a mother. I'm a pastor. I'm trying to think what other hats I wear.
You're a Nigerian.
I'm a Nigerian, of course. I'm a Nigerian. Yes.
You wear so many hats.
So many hats. That's me in a nutshell. Yes.
Beautiful. So now tell us, social medicine. First of all, what's social medicine and why social medicine for you?
Okay, great. So social medicine, it's the part of medicine that deal with health, as a social entity, not just as illness, not just as illness or disease. It deals with health as a social entity. What it really focuses on is health inequity.
Okay.
So inequity meaning that all of us are not on the same platform or in the same baseline. Just call it that. A lot of our health outcomes will be as a result of our baseline. And so what we look at in social medicine are two main factors, which is the social and the economic factors to a person's health. Meaning that if the social factors or the economic factors around the person is compromised, then the person has more propensity to be ill and not to recover quickly from that illness. So specific example are, for example, children that are suffering from malnutrition as a result of poverty. So the social factors are that they're probably living in a congested environment, they're living in a slum, they're maybe living without a roof over their head. And then there is the economic aspect, which is that they don't have access to balanced diet. They're probably not drinking clean water. They're probably, eating all sort of infested food. That child will most likely fall ill quicker, faster than a child that has a better socioeconomic platform. And the child may most likely not recover from the illness. So social medicine is dealing with the human being as a whole, not just the disease. It's not isolating the disease. It's taking the disease in cognizance with the person's social factors. So there's something we call social determinants of health, and things like food, shelter, clothing, security, are some of the social, even family, because a child that is probably homeless or without an orphan has more propensity to become, ill than a child that probably has a father and mother alive and present and living with them. So those social factors, because medicine for a long time was dealing with just the body, with just the health, the disease, and we found out that people were not necessarily, our health outcomes were not necessarily getting better, especially in developing countries like ours, which is Nigeria, where we have a lot of poverty in Nigeria. So we found out that our health outcomes cannot improve just because you know how to treat the disease. It would only improve because you have sorted out the social and the economic factors of the person, and then you give them a good health system so that when they fall ill, you have a good health system to treat them. So that's social medicine in a short form. Why social medicine for me? I think that it was, I went to medical school like everybody, and I learned the medicine, which is the study of disease and the treatment of disease. But I also was quite compassionate to people that were living in disadvantaged situations. I was very compassionate because I grew up with a lot of these people. I grew up with family and friends that didn't have a lot of economic standing in the society. And I saw that they suffered from diseases and they passed on earlier and quicker than people that had better economic standing. So as a person, I knew that I had to go into social medicine because just treating hypertension and diabetes, just treating malaria and all forms of tuberculosis alone is not going to help people recover from healthcare. A particular instance that happened, an experience I had was I lost a cousin in my year 5 in medical school. I lost a cousin of mine that was very young. Yeah, she was about 3 years old. And year 5, I remember, was the year we studied pediatrics, which is the study of medicine of children. And I remember that, we had this aid organization, international aid organization, had given the department some packs of meals for malnourished children. It's a pack that is used for very severely malnourished children, and they had given it, and it was almost expiring. And so our consultant said we could take them and give to people that we know And so, I was having a discussion with my mom, and I said I would give it to her to give to people in my hometown who may need it. And she said, "Oh, there are some of your cousins that need it." And I was so shocked that why my cousins need it. And she said, "Oh, they had some financial issues, and the child needs it." Fast forward a few months after that, the child passed of an anemic heart failure that was as a result of malnutrition. A long-standing malnutrition. So it just it was such a needless death. And a lot of the deaths we record in developing countries are needless deaths. There are some deaths there's no death that is needful. There are some deaths that that you have done everything within your power. That science can do, and there is nothing else you can do. But the deaths as a result of food is quite needless, because children should have access to food. A death as a result of infection is quite unnecessary, because people should have access to antibiotics when they need it to treat the infection. People should have access to hospitals and to doctors, even though they don't have money in their pockets. So all the out-of-pocket services, expenses from healthcare, which is impoverishing people. So for me, it was from then I knew that, we could teach all we want, we could see all the patients in the hospital, but there are patients that would not meet you in the hospital, because either they don't even have the financial means to meet you in the hospital, or they're not educated enough to know that a hospital is for them, or, so they would not come to you, and you need to go to those people with education, with poverty alleviation schemes, with building better housing for them. So all of that advocacy comes a lot to do with social medicine. Social medicine is more research, it is education, it is service delivery, and it's a lot of advocacy to especially the government, which is responsible for the patient.
The people.
So
Amazing. You just took us through a crash course now on on social medicine, like looking at the interrelationship. You're not just focusing on that aspect of body, malady and all that, but now you're looking at the environment, because the body exists within the environment, and the environment has this impact. It could be positive, it could be negative. And that's what you just put us through now. And I'm so glad. I believe my audience hearing this now are like, okay, fine. We never saw it in this light. Now, looking at the passion with which you've been delivering, all of this, I need to ask you, what is it like within our country with respect to social medicine? Are we receiving the necessary, would I say, attention, giving attention to it, or one of those things we just glance through and we don't pay so much attention to? What is it like from your practice now so far?
Okay, so I think that we're doing a lot better than maybe we were 30 years ago. Okay. I think that global health, which is another way of putting social medicine, but the social medicine that interrelates between countries, different countries, so it's called global health, has become a topic that is now a household topic, especially for developed countries, because we know that we are such a globalized world now. So today I'm in Lagos, tomorrow I may be in New York. So if I'm in Lagos and I have a disease and I don't receive the help that I need, and I'm in New York tomorrow, and it's a communicable disease, it's a transmitted disease, I could actually infect New Yorkers, and the whole of New York can go into a pandemonium for that. So global health has become, we're no longer living in our country, secluded, alone. We're living as a global village. So because of that, a lot of the Western countries have deemed it fit to not just improve their healthcare, but to ensure that the healthcare of developing countries also improve. If not, their life is at stake. Having said that, that has brought a lot of light into social medicine, because these aid organizations come with resources for service delivery, but also a lot of social development. So a lot of either youth empowerment or poverty alleviation or infrastructure. There's a lot of that happening alongside with healthcare service delivery. So that has improved. However, what I will say is that as a country, we are still lagging behind compared to other African countries. And I will say why. Why is because we have not taken ownership. So it's good that somebody somewhere is helping. It's good that other countries know that they should help because we don't exist in isolation. But when you take ownership of what happens in your country, then you go above and beyond the help that you get. Or you also use the help that you get in the most effective way, efficiently, to give you the results that you need. So I would say that because most of these countries have particular interests in certain diseases and certain social determinants of health that they feel that they need to solve. And so they will give aid to that. But you as a country, you have certain needs. So for example, I give you, for example, HIV/AIDS is something that has gotten global recognition because it went from being a disease of the whites to a disease of the whole world, right? So there's a lot of funding and resources for that. But we know that malaria is a disease for Africa. Most especially Nigeria. And so it will not get as much as funding or resources because it's not a global disease and it's not something that they suffer from, and it's not a communicable disease unlike Ebola or COVID that can easily be transmitted. So because of that, our not taking ownership of how we make sure that we improve our healthcare is still making social medicine an issue. So for example, I've said malaria, but most people will think of malaria as anti-malaria and admission. But malaria starts with the social aspect. Where is the person living?
The environment, exactly.
The environment is talking about open gutters. It's talking about waters that are exposed, stagnant water around the home. And we know that there are people that are living in slums, even in the cities. So not just the villages. There is the slum in the city. There is the slum in the village. And so malaria, just giving an insecticide-treated nets and anti-malaria will not eliminate malaria. We need to fix our infrastructure. We need to fix our gutters. We need to make sure that we don't have stagnant water. We need to eliminate the parasite called the mosquito plasmodium. We need to eliminate that organism. That is when we can say that is social medicine. So social medicine is not just, the person is sick, let's test the person for malaria and let's give drugs. No. Social medicine is saying, let's eradicate the organism causing this by eradicating the circumstances by which they breed. And there are countries that have done this, but it's not going to happen it's not going to happen by aid assistance. It's going to happen by you, the government, sitting up to say, this is my problem, and it's not common to everybody. And this problem is also leading to deaths of Nigerians in multitude, especially children. So I need to solve this problem. So that's why I said we have come a long way in terms of sensitization of what social medicine is, and a lot of actors in the field and a lot of doctors now in the field. But we need to also take that ownership, that leadership that comes with ownership, that responsibility. We need to be responsible for our health outcome. And I think that that's where we differ from countries like Rwanda that, takes their health system personal. And even our neighbors here in Ghana, So that's where we still have gaps and where we can improve.
Beautiful. I mean, ordinarily you would say we shouldn't be grappling with this. Excuse me. We shouldn't be grappling with this at this time of our existence, but somehow we are, it's obvious we need to do more, and thank God we have someone like you in this space educating, and enlightening us and telling us this is it, this is this, and we can actually get ourselves out of it. Now, you in course of your introduction, you made mention of you're a pastor and you're a wife. I'm trying to understand, she's into social medicine. She's a medical doctor. I can imagine the time and all that. And now she's a pastor and a wife. Now tell us, a wife, certainly, but the issue of pastoring now, just let us understand, what are you doing in that space?
Oh, I don't think it's like career that someone plans. I think it's something that, just meets you somewhere on the road. And but I think that it's still tied up to my love for social medicine. It's just, I don't like to see people suffer. I don't like to see things that are preventable that happen. So the love for people, the love for the poor, the underserved, for the love for the vulnerable. I think that has always been there, is what, has probably led to this whole role of being a pastor. I think that being a pastor is not very different from my being a social medicine. It's still loving people, loving the people that quote unquote are worthy, and loving them to a point where they can see Christ in you. And the Christ that they see in you attracts them to know the Christ that is in the Bible. And then they give their lives to Christ and they start a walk. So I think it's similar. It's the same thing, but in different aspects. So that's why, to me, pastoring is not I don't always say that, because to me it's not an additional responsibility. It's a lifestyle. You pastor people every day. You pastor people in church. You pastor people at work. You pastor people in your neighborhood. You pastor them. It's not because you have the title. Who is a pastor? A pastor is really someone that brings Christ to people, that reveals Christ to people. That's what a pastor is. It reveals Christ to people, whether by sharing the word, whether by singing, whether by sharing your own life experience, but just letting people see Christ in you, and then telling them, referring them back to the Christ that they should have as their Savior and their Lord. So I entered in, I was just having a discussion with my husband. Entered pastoring by association, by marriage, by association, but he says it's not true, that it's not about association. But really, I think that it's just a lifestyle, and it's something that you do because you love God and you love people.
Beautiful. I mean, simply put, what you love doing. And, your professional life, mingling with that aspect of you spiritually now speaking, and you're just moving in that direction. They are not separable. You're not trying to put them in different boxes. Absolutely. For you. If I get what you're saying now, this is one flowing into the other. Now, you just called your husband, and I want to take this up. I know, for the want of time, I know you're very busy, and we're not going to keep you here for too long. Let me understand the support you get from him, considering your schedule and everything you do, the support you get from him, because today we have a lot of young people out there who think, I won't get the necessary support I need from this man or whatever, so I need to do it solo and all that. But I mean, you're shining, you're glowing. That's the best way I can describe it. And I want to believe, your husband has got something to do with this. Absolutely. So let's hear that.
Yes. So speaking to the young people is very passionate for me, because I think that the subject of who you marry is the key to life. At least the majority part of your life you live it married, right? And your singlehood is most times is shorter than your married life. So your singleness, your parents, you couldn't choose your parents. You couldn't choose your economic background. Couldn't choose your tribe. Couldn't choose your nationality. Your husband, you must choose it by the leading of the Holy Spirit. I was having a conversation with a friend 2 days ago, and we're talking about the fact that we married the men we married is why we could do work, ministry effortlessly. For young ladies, young men, it is an area you must hear God for. Without hearing God, don't marry. You can't just marry a believer. I always say that every believer is not for you. It's not the fact that he's a believer. He must be the one that God has designed for you, and only God can answer that question. So you must go, you must hear, you must learn. And if you don't know how to hear from God, there are books, there are messages that you can read to practice how to hear from God. Then practice it in your daily life and then apply it to marriage. It is very key. My husband has been my pastor. He's been my priest. He's been my prophet. He's been an apostle. Every of my career move has been 100% associated with my husband. Every career move, every move has been 100% him. He would talk to somebody about his wife, and the person, even this discussion has to be, it's because of my husband. He would have a random conversation with somebody. He would have a random conversation with somebody, and they will end up talking about me, and the person will be like, "Where is your wife? I need her on this job." Every job.
That is so sweet.
I'm literally repeating it, because if not for him, I will not be where I am today. And it's not because God cannot do it without him, but God also gave him to me as a representation of God on the earth. He represents my Father in heaven on the earth. That's who he is. And that's what the Bible says. It says that the man should water his wife, should wash her with the water of the word. And present her to God. So the husband is actually a God to the wife, if you look at it that way. So he has literally been that to me. In fact, without him planning it. So it's very important. Marry the right person. If you've made the decision, let me go there, let me balance it. If you made the decision already, you're married and you're not getting that support career-wise, that's why we have God, is to pray. You pray to God to ask him for help. And one of the ways he can help you is to help you to relate your purpose to your husband without bruising his ego. Because ego has a lot to play with human relationship. So God would help you, because sometimes you may be saying the right things. You may want to do the right things, but saying it the wrong way or communicating it the wrong way. So God, when you pray, God will reveal the part that has to do with you, that you need to change. God would also touch his heart, because at the end of the day, if God sends you an assignment, he has to make the provision, including spousal support. So God would also touch his heart to support you, and then God will make the way that will make it so easy. And it may not be what you are thinking. God may even give you another idea that you can work on that doesn't necessarily disturbs the synergy of the home. So I'll say there's nothing too big to pray about. There's nothing too small to pray about. Pray about it. But if you have not made that choice, please again, it is the relationship that models Christ and the church is marriage. It cannot be taken lightly. You must hear from God.
Amazing. Guys, if I allow Dr. Fejuro, she will turn it into a Bible study now, and we'll just keep going and keep going. I mean, her husband is a very good friend. He's not just a friend, he's a brother who were both together in school. So I understand and I appreciate what she's saying. I can attest to that myself, but it's so fulfilling seeing that a woman is actually talking about her husband like this, and she's telling the truth. That is the truth. She's just saying it. She's not just trying to sugarcoat it, but saying it as it is. What I am today, to the glory of God, I owe to my husband. Amazing. Dr. Fejuro, thank you for this moment. Before I let you go, I'll ask you this question before I let you go. What does the future hold? I saw your write-up. I think it was with Harvard Business School now, and amazing write-up you presented there. What does the future hold for you within this space? Looking forward.
Okay, so in a summary, I would say, I know the future is to serve Nigeria in a leadership capacity. That is what I know by the Spirit. Which leadership capacity I'm not very sure now. But I know that with all of my experience and my work, I know that I'm called to Nigeria to serve. I was in public service. My first appointment was in public service. I was in public service. I moved to the private sector, but I know that the future is back to the public service to serve Nigeria in the health space in a leadership capacity. And it's because, again, I see that there's so many needless deaths, so many needless disabilities, health disabilities, that we don't need to be richer than, in quotes, than we are now to have better health systems. We just need to be innovative in our thinking. We just need to be efficient in our use of our resources, and we would need to be transparent and accountable to the ones that we are leading. So in a nutshell, the future for me is to serve Nigeria, because I see so many gaps, and the only way to close gaps is to go in there and fix it instead of just sitting here and talking about it. So I'm going back to the public sector. Yes.
And the universe has heard you, because you just declared it and the word has gone forth. You know, as you were talking, what I got there was, we don't need more to be better. All we need is to make the best use of what we already have. You know, being efficient and being effective, you know. So it's not a question of I need more. It's a question of I need to rethink what I'm doing, my processes, to get better at it, and, you know, answer those questions. Thank you for this time. Thank you for this time. Thank you for this time. I am really, really grateful. And I like your spirit. You know, you're not wavering. You're not like neither here nor there. Like, this is, I know I'm called to serve in leadership. The time, well, I don't know the time now, but I know I'm there, I'm available, I'm making myself available, you know, and that is beautiful. That is beautiful. Guys, we've been discussing with Dr. Fejiro Chinyenwoku. I love that last name. Don't worry, I'll tell you more about that some other time. You know, and she said so much about herself, what she's doing, her husband, her dream, her desire for Nigeria. Yes, for God's humanity. I'm super excited having her on the show today, but you know how it is. Time is not always our friend when we come into this space. I need to let her go. She has to catch up with other things. But before I let her go, I know I've asked one last question, but I just need her to say, encourage one person out there, that lady, that man, a word of encouragement from you, Dr. Fejiro.
Okay, if there'll be one thing I would say, is believe in yourself. A lot of, and that's something that I think I've grown to accept. You were saying it, Amakri, that I'm clear on what I want. I was not always this clear on who I am. But as I began to become comfortable and believe in myself and believe that God made me uniquely me. So God crafted us perfectly for our situation, for what He needs us to be. Believe in yourself, be comfortable in it, and then let other people, let other people see that aspect of you. Showcase that aspect of you that is uniquely you. Don't try to be anybody else. Don't try to fit into any stereotype. Don't try to fit into a mold. You are made that way for a particular reason. You are a square peg, create a square hole and fit there. Believe in yourself. I think that's the greatest advice I will have for any person.
Amazing. Guys, believe in yourself. Love you. Do you. There's no other person like you. There's no other you but you. I mean, I love that. I love that. Thank you. Thank you. Guys, we need to let her go, but you know how we say it on the show. This is the space where we come to lean on one another's experience to forge a positive path. And today we've received a positive word from Dr. Fejiro. Be you, do you, love you. Till I come your way again. Bye for now. Fejiro, what do you have to tell us now?
Bye. Bye. Love you.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Awesome time it has been with you on the World Cafe podcast today. Thank you for being there. You can catch me up on my social media handles, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram, all at Amakri Isoboye. Also, you can get copies of my books, A Cocktail of Words, The Color of Words, my HR notebook, and Hawker's Focus on God on Amazon and Roving Heights online bookstores. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel at the same address at Amakri Isoboye. I love to hear from you and how this podcast has impacted you. You can leave me a message at my email address, amacrigaribaldi@gmail.com. That is AMACHREEGARIBALDI. Yes, till I come your way again. Bye for now.